Car, she blows. Okay, everybody, here we go. It's a big day.
That's
We're back. We are back for more Laying It Down with Big D. I am your host, Big Andrew Big D Morrow, and I'm joined today by a good friend of mine, Mr. Well, I should call you more than just my good friend. He's an org owner, ex-player, and all-around Counter-Strike and esports lover, Mr. Ross rTx Tomlinson. How are we doing today, Ross?
I'm doing great. So I'm glad that finally get to do this with you now. Get to
Yes.
get to speak into the world, let the world know what's going on.
The entire world is watching right now, so make sure you let them know. Well,
I
yeah,
will.
no,
I
I'm
will.
I'm happy you're here, and I meant to tell you beforehand before we started, and now people will get a little behind the scenes of what I tell people beforehand. But I'm gonna ask you some questions, and you're gonna yap away for us, okay? Like this is you yap as much as you want to yap. This is your time to do that. So don't pull any punches. Don't shout out to Chicken Coop for the sweet hat that I love wearing. I've been rocking that for a while, and
Notes over there, chicken coop guys.
we love the. So it's sad to hear about the disbanding of that roster, not just from the chicken coops, but just that roster disbanding in general. Kind of crazy, but we're not here to talk about chicken coop. We're here to talk about Ross and maybe a little OSS. Which you know what it just occurred to me, Ross. Now I'm the one doing all the yapping.
What's up?
OSS is Ross without the R.
Oh wow.
Did you do
I
that on purpose? Let's start there.
No, that's actually kind of crazy. I've never thought of that. Um, no, OSS was actually started like the name. I think kind of embodies like what we do. Off-season shenanigans. Like being a player first. I was kind of a nerd. I was like I always wanted to play, and the season ended of ESEA, and I was like, I want to carry on playing. So what's funny was I actually made the league so I could play in it, so I could have more Counter-Strike. And I realized after the first season, with the traction it got, I was like, okay, wait a minute, let me take a step back and see if I can, make it into something bigger. And that's where we are today. It's slowly but surely growing, but I've never wanted to overpromise anything with OSS. So I would rather that steady incline than put myself in a situation that like I can't get out of something, because
Yeah,
that's oh yeah, my
go
bad.
on.
I was just
Sorry, I
saying
didn't
that's
mean.
the biggest thing is like I see it in the North American space is we need the love back here. We need the tournaments. We need the money, truthfully. So kind of starting at that ground, I want to make sure we build something from the foundation that's healthy. So in 5 years, I'm not facing any money issues because it was done correctly from the start. And that's so I love OSS too.
Yeah, I think that's why a majority of the region loves OSS right now because I mean obviously we're both a little biased. Let's
Yeah.
make sure everybody at home knows that Ross. Ross, what's your title for OSS officially?
I am the CEO of OSS. Yeah, business operation, sales manager.
And
Only thing I
co-founder,
don't do
correct?
is yes, it is a co-project with Tortoise. He's more of a silent partner within it, but he does so much behind the scenes work for us. That's someone that whilst today is talking about me, I do need to give his props because no one actually knows what he does, and he does all the planning for OSS for how it runs, how it does, and he does it on no dime. He's a true lover of NA, and that's also something I've realized getting to work with people. A lot more people love the scene than we think. So when I see like the Twitter posts like, "Oh, NA is a dead region," we're actually so far from being a dead region. We're just we're in building blocks again. We have to build our region back up. We're not where we used to be, and we know that. Um, but having people like Tortoise, having people like shouting out all the goats of the scene, Jeff, Big and Tall Matt, the list goes on and on. These are people who truly put NA at its forefront, and we need to be supporting people like that. And that's why I have to shout out those guys too, because I mean they inspire me to run OSS and keep being myself as well.
Yeah. Yeah, there are. I agree that this entire region, every time I hear that, oh, it's a dead region. No, it's not. It's just disorganized. Like that's it. The passion is here. The drive is there. It's just like nobody really. Everybody's still kind of figuring out how to like lay out that structure for people to work within. And I think VRS is definitely helping like a lot of people be able to build something better. And yeah, I'm excited about it too. I think it's not a dead region at all. I think we're starting to see an uptick in stuff. Anyway, to clarify, he is the CEO of OSS. I am the production manager of OSS. So we both are a little biased when it comes to OSS, but it what I was gonna say is the overwhelming support from the community that we've seen when like you posted the roadmap the other day for people and the amount of responses that you got that were just like wow from real players about how good the league is pretty overwhelming. Well, I want to go back in time here, Ross, to the very start of it all. When did you what's your Counter-Strike story? What's your earliest memory of Counter-Strike, and how did you grow into wanting to play it competitively?
So started in Source. I was the little squeaker kid. I played Surf only. I was a Surf guy. Scouts and Knives, if you remember that too. And I would come in servers and honestly just be the squeaker yelling at people. Those probably was my earliest memories. But it formed me into the man today because trust me, they let me know that I was irritating. But hey, it I loved it. So I started in Source, and then when Go came out, I actually took like probably a 4 month break, and then started playing. And I got picked up by my first ever team captain. His name was Ramrod, and I remember I was like 13 or 14 at the time, and like no one wanted to pick me up. My voice was still like breaking, and he was like, "I'm gonna take the shot on you," and that was just kind of like my first entrance into the scene, playing CEVO, and then moving into ESCA, and then kind of from there, it was just playing all the time. Unfortunately, I never got to the heights that I wanted to, but I did have a lot of fun peaking in Maine with my good friends over at DXG Scoob and Company. But yeah, so when I realized kind of as a player, I might not be the greatest, I could still have fun and do other things. So I was like, maybe I shouldn't be so hard on myself because like we see the Twitter posts going on now, how some people are so hard on themselves on if they do bad in the ESE match, and it's like Jackro I think had the greatest saying. I think it was Jackro. I forgot who
It was
responded,
Jackro, yes.
and that's it's true what he's saying. In 2 months, you're not going to remember the games. Stop beating yourself over the small things. So yeah, Source surfing is where it all started.
Source, dude, source surfing. I mean, that's a good start. No, and I appreciate you bringing that up too, because like it kind of leads me into the next. We're gonna be all over the place with VRS, your history, all
Awesome,
whatever.
that's perfect.
We're gonna try to keep it as professional as possible. But Ross and I are good buddies too, so you may see a bit of uh,
Tomfoolery.
low brow camaraderie as well in it. But I mean, Jack Rose said that, and you're right. ESEA BO1s just kind of are becoming more and more meaningless. Do you think that the ESEA season, the way it's playing out, will even look the same as we think it? Like, do you think it's going to have to start changing because of VRS as well soon? Or do
Um,
you think that's just going to kind of always be the gold standard and stay there?
I almost could see it being like the gold standard and stay there because they have, I mean, they're 50 plus seasons in now, and um, they are still refining their product within like the face it industry, and we're seeing improvements every season. So I actually love what ESEA does. But yeah, the BO1s, I think like we're seeing more BO5 grand finals. The game with being 13 rounds too, I think it's more designed to be a best of three matchup, especially in a competitive setting with two really good teams. Like, if number one and number two in advance play each other and it's a best of one, while the one team loses, I don't always want to say the other team's just astronomically better because We need to see it in the best of three. Let's see it on your favorite map. Let's see it on their favorite map, and let's go to the decider if it's needed. So yeah, I hope ESEA does move to a best of three kind of format, mainly because players are wanting to get better, and that's what we see in EU. They have 1,000 leagues there, and all the leagues are best of threes, and it's why those teams become so great together. The amount of competitive practice they have together is tenfold over the NA players, and that's not fault on NA players. But that's why we need to try and just like we can move to that BO3 standard. I think we're going to see an improvement almost instantly. I think.
Yeah, I agree. I think like I said, VRS is already changing up a lot of stuff. What are so like? Do you want to talk about some of the hurdles of like trying to get VRS? Because I mean,
Yeah, sure.
isn't VRS right now, but obviously we're trying to get that kind of status, and I'm sure people are curious to know what it takes to get that status.
Yeah, to be completely honest, I there's so many things to learn with the VRS ruling, so I'm still like reading over it every day to perfect it. But I've actually didn't really like the VRS system at first, but now that it's kind of like grown a little bit, if that's the correct way to say, it's giving opportunities like OSS and smaller organizations the chance to become something, and to also help your region directly, giving VRS points to these teams, whether small, rather get small, little VRS points than none. So I think I think there's still some hurdles with it. That's like how the team inviting works. That's what I'm still kind of making sure I get right because the last thing we need is to get halfway through and they say, oh, it's not VRS. So um, yes, you need 8 invited teams from your top list of VRS teams, and then from there, from my understanding, it's a lot of just contact with HLTV and making sure that these games are publicly broadcasted because VRS games, since they hold such a high standard, that the game wants to know, like we're not giving a cheater team 3 points, um, essentially. So I do like VRS. I think it's still got some time to grow, and learn, but I'm excited because I think within one more year we're gonna start seeing a lot more tournaments probably popping up, which is great, which is what we need.
Do you think that'll be isolated just to North America, or do you see other regions like China and like um, I don't know what they're calling like the Australia and New Zealand region anymore. I know it was Oceania
Oh
for a
shit,
while,
yeah.
but I think it's changed to something else. But do you think it'll affect like regions like smaller regions like that? Like I know it'll help out North America quite a bit, but I'm curious to know about other regions too.
I think in those regions it also gives them a chance to make something out of your region. Like having events like using Frag. Is such a great example. Ninjas of pajamas. So countries like Australia and China, you now have the opportunity to make these tournaments and have the NIPs of the world come and have the Astraluses have, um, so I think in the short term right now it might affect them, but in the long term, once these regions kind of figure out their pathing, I actually think it could be really good for the ecosystem, like globally.
Are we going to see South Africa get online?
My boy JT's online, but I wish because we have a lot of good players there, like Sonic, JT, missed him now in young ninjas. They've proven that we've got the skill. We just didn't have the infrastructure. So it would be awesome to see if South Africa could finally become more of a household name because ESEA's taken their chance with them. They finally give them servers and give them league now. So there is growth there. It's just now the players kind of need to grip it and rip it, using your
That
terminology.
that's a big D classic phrase. Yeah, they do. Well, I mean, yeah, it just feels like the rest of I mean, we saw even before VRS at the last major in Shanghai in December. Like, I think one of the things that surprised me the most is how passionate the fans were about Counter-Strike. I was like, wait, you guys like Counter-Strike? I thought it was like all Dota and StarCraft and fighting games over here and stuff. So seeing them be in love with Counter-Strike and have so much respect for it, I definitely hope that it gets more places online. All right, I'm gonna ask more about OSS. You and maybe we can clip out this specific part for the OSS brand so nobody has to like sift through this entire interview for this information. Although they should, let's be honest.
Great info.
Um, yeah, it's all great info. So you posted the roadmap the other day about OSS. Uh, why don't you lay it down for the people in person a little more? What your give us the speech
Yeah, so
because
for
that
season
roadmap got
8,
us hype.
yes, season 8, so we're going to be doing that in the second quarter of this year, looking to stay on schedule and do it in this ESEA off season. We still want to keep our space there as players have now got pretty comfortable with that. We're going to be doing a playoff restructure as well, so that's going to be where your 8 invited VRS teams are going to be waiting for the 16 qualified teams through the group stage. And we're also changing the group stage to make it more of that competitive standard. So Swiss System's now going to be, we were doing 5 matches before, and realized the last two, especially in the last 2 seasons, as we've leveled up our teams, the higher level teams find those seeding games kind of pointless, if we're going to be honest. So removing the 5 games, and we're going to do the 0-3 system that the major used to use. I actually think it's the most fair system in the ecosystem we have, because if you're a lower level team in OSS, you'll keep matching, your record, and it allows teams at the lower level who just want to practice. It allows the teams who come in like Zomblers, congrats to them who won the last season, to prove themselves, show themselves, and that was a team that I saw grow through the last season too, which was awesome. Um, but to bring it back on track, and then also stricter ruling on schedule going forward. So having a more standard for our streamers. You did so much casting for us last season. I realized what was hard was trying to find that scheduling time, because I mean you're a human and you have stuff going on too. So um, kind of making everything more just in a solid rule base that we can plan around it and players can work towards something, um, is just going to be the professional standard going forward. And then honestly, everything in the back end, we're fixing graphics. We're going to be getting 1 or 2 more staff members, and there's just going to be a lot faster communication between the staff team and players, and that's what I'm really excited for, is having our unified staff team to really come together. I think we're at the time where this can really grow. Um, so I'm excited for that. That's the short-term goals, what we're going to be changing right now, and then going through season 9 and beyond. Guaranteeing VRS for all future tournaments. Doing a almost like a match of the day. So increasing our streams, having an OSS stream 1, 2, 3, doing it all. Finishing our website. That's been in creation since the start of OSS. The amount of people I've commissioned that website to, and the API is what stops everyone. I'm hoping we've finally found something, so we're going to be exploring that to get our API integrated website with season player stats. Being able to, casters will be able to look at games easier. Um, that's the biggest thing. And then ultimately creating our sponsorship package so we can start sending that out to companies. You know, we can grow this by ourselves, but with the correct partners, we could really, really do some damage in North America, and I mean that in a good way. And that's the biggest thing, is we've been approached by a few companies, but I won't just take a deal for the sake of a deal. It needs to be something that aligns with the OSS product. If there's one thing I've always promised staff and players, was I'm not going to do anything that I as a player wouldn't like, because it's unfair on the players. So yeah, and then the big one, OSS LAN study. So we're going to be reaching out to some companies in the Midwest looking for a 2026 LAN for OSS. Still need to finalize details on that. If we want to use our online tournament as perhaps a qualifier, we'll see, because a lot needs to go into that. But yes, looking to branch into the LAN ecosystem as we continue to grow, as I think that is the next step for OSS. Um, and yeah, and kind of, but what I wrote at the bottom of the roadmap is I really stand by that, as OSS was built for players who grind in the off season, and now I really want to build a brand that lasts beyond it. Because while we can function in the off season, there's so much that we can do without stepping on other people's toes, and that's the biggest thing of OSS is we want to stay in our lane, and I don't want to step on anyone's toes. And I realize in this world, a lot of people think you have to get to the top, and I think the way OSS is growing is showing that you don't need to step on people's toes to get there. It's hard grind that's going to get you there.
Seriously, yeah, that's really well said. Thank you for sharing all that, and I wish I could show you the goosebumps I got on my arm to talk about how excited I am for it. Because yeah, I think one of the big, I mean, more tournaments and more officials for players to get those reps in, um, is really great. But I just think that having the players first in mind is the most important thing, and I think that's where you specifically succeed with OSS, and why Frag is so good at what it does, right? Like Steve Sasquatch is an old source professional player. Guy knows what should be happening at a LAN. When you're putting these
Yeah.
players first, you're gonna get the players responding, and before you get money rolling in, before you get sponsors, before you get viewers, before you get anything going, you need players playing in your tournament. And I think that's one of the coolest things about OSS is it's been very grassroots for the last couple of years now, and it's just exciting to see it be on this kind of uptick and upturn, and seeing you put all this hard work into it. All right, well, enough about OSS for now. What else do you want to talk about, Ross?
Anything. How has your week been? How has your laying it downs been?
Dude, they've been good. We've been on the grind recently, haven't we? We've
Yes, I
been
actually saw your Anders one. I watched that one yesterday to see how this was gonna go. That was really cool. I also watched your one with Big and Tall Matt. Also a really cool one. I didn't realize how much he did outside of
yeah, dude, he's
CS.
not just Counter Strike.
Yeah,
I
he's
don't know. I don't know where that man finds the time. I looked in his eyes and was like, "How are you doing this, dude?"
no,
Because
he's a workhorse.
yeah,
He's
serious workhorse, and doing so much for the scene. I'd like to get Kerner Sandals on here someday, but I played one game of Deadlock with him last summer when Deadlock came out, and then we never talked again. It didn't like go bad, I don't think,
yeah. I hope.
but
Did you win?
but I don't remember. But I just played the one
Ooh.
game with him, and then he bounced out, and we never talked again. But he does a bunch in esports as well, and for Counter Strike that I'd really like to get involved in. Um, but yeah, I
I
know
mean,
there's more to talk about here.
I can definitely spill some more beans for OSS. If if
Yeah,
if that's
we don't do gossip on laying it down with Big D, so we can leave gossip out. But yeah, dude, anything OSS related. I mean, how
gossip. No,
what?
I stay out the gossip. I'm that was young Ross. Older Ross says he stays in his lane these days.
Okay,
Realizes life's a lot easier that
this
way.
is what this guy
Uh,
says on camera. I'm just kidding. He really does not
no,
gossip.
but seriously, what I'm excited for going forward, if we can pull it off, is to talk more about the casters out there. This is all for all the casters. OSS is really working hard to give Big D production money. We really want to start paying our casters what they're worth. We value your time. That's something we've had countless conversations about. I want to make sure casters know and production people going forward, if anyone's watching this, that we do have you in mind too. And we are growing to have a set of funds so we can start paying you for all your hard work, because what you do is hard. If anyone could cast, everyone would do it. So um, that's such a big thing that I'm glad I thought of that, because I want the production people to know we do care, and thank you for your guys' hard work.
Oh yeah. Well, and I think something to keep in mind too is like with what we're doing at OSS and trying to kind of scale it up, we're not necessarily like the volunteers that we've been going after are people that are somewhat established in the community, and it's like it's not a hard they're our friends and they're happy to help us, right? And they want to help support too, but we're very much trying to scale up in the sense of making sure that we have something to offer instead of just a Liquipedia page credit or exposure, because obviously those things are necessary for people in a gig economy and working in the entertainment industry, but OSS is definitely, yeah, it's not just one facet of OSS that's trying to scale up and be professional. It's all facets of it. And so, God, I guess that means I might have to be more professional. That sounds awful.
No, we'll get there. We'll build our brand name. I'm looking at kind of just like, I want to be the serious but fun league. Like, I think that's what I love about the name Off-Season Shenanigans, because I almost want to be like the NIP of the world. Eventually, the goal is we'll probably go into just the OSS name once we start scaling up, just for easier brandability. But I don't ever want to lose or forget like where we came from. And that's the biggest thing is when I see, not just in CS, companies try to go corporate and try to go big. They forget who they are a little bit, and you need to remember your identity, because like that's what people liked you for. You see way too many companies try and make that leap, but then forget who they were, and that's we want to make sure we stay exactly exactly with what we've been doing. I think is the best way to say it.
I think what you said is like captures what the like idea of esports in general should be: serious but fun. Like
Yes.
that's, of course we all take our game seriously, but at the end of the day, in the grand scheme of the universe, we're playing a fucking video game. Like
Yes.
that's it. Like, right? Or even if you were playing sports, like you're playing a sport, you're playing a competition. It's not life or death. It is meant to be fun at the end of the day.
Yes.
But you can take these things seriously and provide a lot of opportunities for a lot of people with it. And
And
yeah,
and
I
you know
think that,
that's such a big thing. I'm glad you'd said opportunity, because I remember as a young player like wanting to go pro. Like whilst OSS might not be the biggest thing, I hope that like Zomblers who win, I hope they do say, we've won a title as a team, we've won an event, because the teams they beat were very formidable teams. They had a crazy run, and that's what I want to build for players is that sense of accomplishment. Because as we say, we're meant to have fun, and sometimes these guys work so hard that they do just need a pat on the back sometimes. You're doing a good job, and um that's what I hope OSS does provide to some of these teams. And I've even seen some teams who unfortunately lose all their games, but still send me a message about how excited they are for the next season and they grow. And a team that I can use that plays in OSS was Vitapler last season, who sorry, 2 seasons ago, when they had their crazy run. And I watched that team quite literally go from, I think it was 0-1, 0-2 start, claw their way into playoffs, and grind it out every game. Unfortunately, fell in the finals, but no one had them on paper there, but they did it. And so that's what I hope we provide for teams continuously going forward, is that like you are doing good, and stop beating yourself up over the losses. Like take something from it and then come back, because I've actually wanted to do a graphic about how teams who play in OSS versus their ESEA record. And a lot of times I actually do see teams do well, but I will also say this, what I've seen with OSS is it also can hurt some teams. I want to be honest on both sides, because some people come in looking at it as life or death, as we were talking about. And I want to tell teams coming in, like, don't. Sometimes your best runs in tournaments are when you least expect it. When I played in Frag Miami, we were struggling in main. We won maybe 2 games. But we went there, we beat 2 advanced teams. Like, we're like, what the heck? And the point of what I'm trying to say is, you never know when you're gonna do it. Stop stressing because it's gonna come.
Well, man, I think we all get. I think that one of the big problems in NA is we have serious ranked anxiety. Like, we put way too much stock into how things look on paper and who is who, and what rank is what rank. And in a very psychological game like Counter-Strike, those things are massive detriments
Mm-hmm.
to the team environment and competitive environment. And like, when that's one of my favorite parts of being at LAN is I don't look out at the like 20 CS matches being played at once and think, oh, that's an advanced team or that's an ECL. It's just 20 matches of Counter-Strike going on,
Yeah,
right? Like, and that's the thing these people got to remember is, like, you know how to play Counter-Strike. Give
you're
yourself
good
the
at it.
grace to make it. Yeah, and you're really good at it. Give yourself the grace to make a mistake and learn from it and move on.
That's actually
Yeah.
something I learned at my last job when I was training. The guy said something that actually I won't forget because it does make sense, and we as people forget it a bit. Sometimes we get into positions that we don't think like we're qualified for or know. The truth is though, if you're there, we need to start telling ourselves there's a reason you're there. It doesn't Things don't just happen by accident like that. You don't just trip and fall up 10 stairs and get to the top. So the point is, I like to tell people is realize, as you said, I am a good player. I'm an advanced player. I'm a main player. Even if you're an IM player, you're an IM player. You're still better than most players in this game. And that's what people don't realize is stop beating yourself up and like look at the game as like a sport, right? If you get better at sports in real life, football, what do? You train every day. You can't come into league and trip up 10 stairs. You train. And so I hope players in NA, because I'm rooting for them, really start to look at CS. Like if they truly want to grind and get to the top, like stick together. Because I was so sad, to be honest, with the Chill guys breaking up. I actually,
Yeah.
I was a fan of the roster. I'll be honest. They played in OSS too, gave lots of love to OSS, so I gave love to them, and they were a true team. Not talking about no scandals, no drama here. That if they truly grinded, I say that that's what NA is. They went from advanced, made ECL, and got better. Now, but I was proud of them. I'm kind of sad to see them break up. I'm hoping it's what's the right word? I'm hoping they're bamboozling us and get picked up by an org. But I don't think it is, unfortunately. I'm holding on to
I don't
loose
think
ends here.
Magic I don't think Magic posted what he posted
Yeah,
while
I'm
being
holding
picked
on
up.
to loose
I know.
ends here.
Yeah. Well, and who cares about drama with those guys too? I know I got caught up in it and it was really stupid of me, and you know, I'm even at 35 years old, I'm making mistakes and learning from them in life, right? Like, even you can speculate all the drama you want around that group. Those guys showed up in Vegas and they proved themselves. There's just no two ways about it.
Yeah.
And getting to talk to somebody like, yeah, yeah. I'm also sad that they're breaking up. But you know what? With these teams breaking up, you know what else though I'm really excited about? It means that
So,
we're gonna have some new exciting rosters come together.
I mean,
So
that's I'm hoping Chicken Coop. I'm sad for them, but with everything ending means, as you said, something new is getting born. And I hope for the org because get to speak to them a lot. Really cool guys. So I hope they get to get back on their feet. I'm excited to see take flight back at the top. To be honest, um,
just
there's
thinking about them.
there's so much in the scene, and like that's one thing I want to say. Working with OSS, I get to meet org owners now and talk to them. I realize how many people like really grind it out. Like the Redacted Society guys, some great people over there. Aether, some great guys over there. Like, I don't want to forget anyone, and then people think like, let me not forget the OG Notorious. I want to see them at the top again too. There's just so much I'm excited for in the scene, and I hope players are as well. Truthfully, like to use your term again, like I truly hope in the midst of all this craziness, like they grip it and rip it. Seriously.
You gotta grip it and rip it.
No, seriously though.
That you do, dude. It's a good phrase. It's all encompassing. It's gonna be on my gravestone. I mark my words. All right. I think we're approaching the length of a pug here, so I'll ask you a last couple of questions here. These have been my wrap-up questions, and then in June I'll only have one wrap-up question when this is over. But first things first, why don't you go ahead and give your I've listened to your ridiculous major predictions for a while now, but why don't you go ahead and share them with the people at home? Well, how about this NA
Okay,
major? What do you think?
real predictions or what I
No,
want.
no, no. Tell them what you want first,
Okay,
and then you can talk about your real predictions.
Complexity gonna win the major. They're gonna win the grand final 3-1. And it's gonna be a master class by Hellzerk, the champion. He's gonna go nuts. We're gonna see NA Hellzerk back. But let's bring it back to reality. I
Okay,
actually
yeah,
think, um, you know, with what Vitality's doing right now, I wouldn't actually be upset to see them win. To be honest, wow, like they're playing some really good CS. The other day I was kind of watching them play against the Falcons final. Zaiwu, like Rops really has completed that team. Like it's scary how formidable they are. So I'm excited because I think we're witnessing a new era that in a year from now we're going to talk about 2 years. But with that being said, give me a Vitality Falcons final and go all five again, truly, and I will be happy because that was a really good Counter Strike when they played each other.
yeah. It's been two power. I haven't. I've only been following the stats, but it's been two powerhouse titans going against each other, and it is very, very exciting to watch. And it's kind of interesting too, because it's like that those cores, right, of Zaiwu and Apex versus Nico and Monacy that have kind of been rivaling each other already for 5 years. But I mean, the
Yeah,
storyline's just continuing to get more and more interesting. And I think there's plenty of people that want to see Nico win a major. I am one of them. I think that
I'm
is
one of them too.
probably the only player in the world left that I'm like, that man should have a major by now. And it is the only player that is not tarnished by, in my mind, by not having one, but I want him to have one. The one that I have a question about, how do you feel about Simple getting to play here in Dallas and Austin?
I gotta be honest, I think FaZe is grasping at anything they can right now, unfortunately. And it's so sad because that roster was so good, so exciting to watch. And it's not that I think the players are bad. I just, unfortunately, I think like everything in the world, things come to an end, and I kind of think they just ran their course with each other. And that's so sad to see it happen that way. So, but for their sake, let me see Bo Liege in go crazy. You know, I would love to see him like what he used to look like on the Liquid days. I would love to see Simple like what he used to do in Na'Vi. But um, yeah, no, I'm a little bit worried for FaZe. I'll be honest. I truthfully don't think having them go past the quarterfinals.
Oh, you have them getting into the quarterfinals though?
I have them making the quarters and then fall off there.
I don't think they'll even make it. I'm definitely of the opinion that this Simple thing, it's not, I don't want to say gimmick because like I don't think that's the right term, but like it definitely feels like it's more of a marketing promotional thing than it feels like, hey, we've put together a winning roster for this major.
Yeah,
Like this feels like this very much what it feels like very much for me is one last hurrah for FaZe is, and it's kind of sad to me because Elige, after staying in North America and supporting North American Counter Strike endlessly, finally is like, all right, guys, I've got for my own sanity to go play with some equal leveled players, and it's falling apart like 4 or 5 months later, and it's but you never know, you never know.
you never
So
know. Because I mean, truthfully, they could have Simple, and if he does the Brokey numbers, what Brokey was doing with the AWP, then we could have a vintage FaZe back. But I think they have to prove that before like I'm gonna get excited about it. If I'm be honest.
is that who he's filling in for? Is Brokey? So it's
Yes, yes. So
Who
Simple's
is it? Kerrigan, Rain, Elige, Simple, and who?
Frozen.
And
Did you say that?
Frozen.
Frozen, Elige, Rain, Simple, Carrigan.
Yeah. So I mean, that's a good roster. Like,
On
who
paper,
knows?
once again, on
Yeah,
paper, it looks good.
on paper. Well, and maybe Simple shows up with some and just frags out because he's on land and he's a crowd favorite and whatever. But he's got to get to the point of playing in front of a crowd before he like gets that boost. So see, I'm gonna say the opposite as you. I don't think they make it to the stage, but if they do make it to the stage, they could have the chance to run it all the
Okay.
way. But I think they're gonna really struggle playing in groups against teams that are very coordinated, very practiced. But who knows?
Who
Okay,
knows?
Ross,
Who
it's time
knows?
for us to go play a pug. Okay, because I've had enough of this. No, I'm just kidding. That's a joke. But I do have one last question for you, and this is the same question I ask everybody. You can get up on a soapbox and just preach, baby. Give us some life advice. Talk to yourself from the past, a younger version of yourself. What's some advice you would give, either Counter Strike or esports related, or just general life advice? Like I said, preach, baby.
Stop stop stressing over the things you can't change. Took me way too long to accept there's just things in life that you have no control over. And the sooner you can tell yourself you have no control over it, if you truly don't, that you stop worrying so much. And it's really, really helped me. Especially now, this is the year I left my parents. I'm doing everything myself now, so it's you can't worry, or this world will eat you up very, very fast. Stop stressing and trust in yourself, because as the cliche goes, everything does happen for a reason. So, um, just enjoy the ride instead of hating the ride.
Well said. I like that. All right, Ross, thank you so much for joining me. You know you will be back someday. I'll use you as my filler episode if I don't have somebody on for for the
Perfect.
day because it's just so easy to talk and yap at you. All right, thanks, man. Appreciate it. Let's get out of this bed for the love of God. Oh, sorry, guys. I'm kicking the dog, knocking the cat over.